Yes.
We're alive.
We are live.
Day 3.
Day 3 of the BS, of the lies. These people, they lie in your face. It's unbelievable the lies they think that we are dumb to, ignorant to. So we are here to see Jonathan Jackson lie to the people with all these foreign flags.
We out here under attack.
Check 1, check 2, check 3. Mic check 1.
They're going to say we're under attack, even though President Trump had to meet with Congo and them so they can stop killing each other over there. But they don't want to discuss that. Why Biden let them continue to kill each other over there? Why he gave all the money to Ukraine? Yeah, come with the facts. These niggas ain't under attack.
Check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1.
It's a secret society. All we ask is trust. Even though they don't care about us.
Check 1. Check 2. Check 3. Check 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5.
Mic check sounds good. Mics sound good. The mics sound good.
The mics sound good. They want to make sure the mics are great, so when you all can hear him live really good. They want to make sure everything is working properly, so you can hear the lies clearly.
He cares nothing about his congressional district in Illinois. He comes here to lie.
Congressional Black Congress Foundation Act. Wow. It's not even America. Look, Africa, diaspora. Wow.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. They're asking that if everyone could please make sure that they sign in for this session at the front door before taking your seats, please. They're at the front making sure that everyone is signed in. So if you have not signed in for this session, can you please go to the entrance door to sign in for this session? Thank you very much.
This is mic 2, mic 2.
Mom.
Jump to a social light club. After like his third lie, I'm leaving.
Okay, yeah.
Well, he should be in here. He got his daddy thinking we African, got us believing we African American. So of course, Jonathan Jackson got to keep it going. Got to keep
Set
the
us
lie
back
going.
100 years.
That's what the name is. John Jackson keeps the African American lie going.
You gotta keep it going. That can never wake up, the real one.
Check one. Check two.
Hello. Hey, babe. Well, you can Why don't you take a I'm not good at what
Mic five, check two. Where you from? What? I'm from Somalia. You guys make us get your act together because what? How do you do that? No. What? Listen, the moment you set this up, Somalians will have to take care of themselves, otherwise they will impose the money.
Had to change it up.
Guess what? You don't mention that man. You know why? You don't talk anything bad about him. He is for this, and he's flashing the White House and he did regime change, he did regime change in Libya and destroy my project.
Wow.
Never undermine Israel. One break in the White House destroyed his father's project. His father was part of this.
This was my battery pack.
I was what they didn't think we lived on because I was fighting for everything. Keep it. Hello. When I become famous, we want a lot of money.
Wow. And
How many drinks and edibles you can eat?
we'll start at 11 o'clock, y'all. There he goes. The coon of the coon. So, always. The African American.
Welcome to the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's 54th Annual Legislative Conference, with this year's theme being Made for This Moment, Trauma Policy and Progress. Before we begin, we would like to share a few housekeeping notes. First, please silence your phones so not to disturb the session recording. Second, please make room for others. Lastly, if you must leave the session before it concludes, please use the side aisles to do so. We look forward to an informative discussion. Please take your seats as the session is about to begin. Thank you.
Can't get in a rainbow push, but I can come in here.
Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, African Diaspora. Wow.
We want to be in the
Hello, hello. I want to say a very special thank you to all of our guests that are in attendance today. People have traveled very far to get to this event today, and we have distinguished guests. But before our introduction, I would like to have a word of remembrance on a moment of gratitude to express how appreciative we are for our ancestors for having laid this foundation. We're going to start with the African National Congress's song, the Organization African Unity. Then we'll have America the Beautiful, and then the program will begin. I'll ask that you stand at this time for these songs.
I'm just standing because I need y'all to see these pictures. America first.
Yeah.
Please be seated. Welcome. This is our panel at the Congressional Black Caucus's 54th annual convening on Africans in the Diaspora. Yes, Ro Khanna, my good friend, is here. The blood of two continents rolls through his soul as well. He's an outstanding member of the United States Congress. He comes from the Valley of Silicon Valley, who cares a great deal about what is happening on the continent as well as what's happening in the United States. I've had the privilege of working now with Congressman Khanna for 2 terms in the United States Congress. But prior to that, we've had a long history of working together. And the commitment that he's made to investing and helping bridge the gap, closing the digital divide, bringing Silicon Valley corporations into HBCUs all across South Carolina and across the South. I'd first like to open up the panel and ask my dear colleague, Congressman Ro Khanna, to please introduce yourself and take a minute or two. Congressman Khanna just arrived today back from China, and there's so many great things that are going on. Congressman Ro Khanna?
Thank you. You're going to have the Indian American guy open up the African diaspora.
No pressure, no pressure.
Look, I have such admiration for Congressman Jackson. He has become, in 2 terms, the moral leader on issues of civil rights in the United States Congress. And there are 2 examples I'll give before making general comments, and then want to really hear from our esteemed guests. He was the first person on the House floor who came to me and came to others when the awful bombing in Gaza was going on, a few weeks after it was going on. And he said, this needs to stop.
Not a
and our party
displacement.
needs to be against a blank check to Netanyahu. Congressman Jackson was right before many people were right. And then recently, and I was talking to Hamilton Grant about this, who's here from South Carolina. Recently, obviously all of us condemn unequivocally the awful murder of Charlie Kirk. But recently, when some people were talking about celebrating his life in terms of the policies he stood for, oblivious to the pain that his comments had caused when he described Michelle Obama or Justice Jackson in the way he did, when he described African-American pilots in the way he did. Johnathan Jackson stood up in the Congress and said, look at the pain that this is causing. Look at the people who are speaking out, whose speech is being silenced. Trying to understand what this means to HBCUs that are shutting down. So thank you, Johnathan, for your moral leadership. I'll just speak very briefly about my background. My grandfather spent 4 years in jail as part of Gandhi's independence movement. And of course, Gandhi started his work in South Africa and then came to India. And it was Gandhi's independence movement that of truth force as a response to physical force that influenced Dr. King, that influenced John Lewis. That led to the 1965 Immigration Reform Act that allowed my parents to come to the United States. I was telling Johnathan and others, a lot of Indians, they didn't get jobs at Harvard or Stanford. The only places that hired them were HBCUs. That's why you still see so many Indian faculty at HBCUs. And so when I got to represent Silicon Valley, I said, well, it is my responsibility, but also my opportunity to help meld the great histories of struggle, liberation, independence, rooted in the African diaspora, influencing the civil rights movement here, and in the Indian subcontinent with Gandhi, and bringing those together. And if we could actually unite technology companies and investment with these HBCUs, we can start to symbolically bring these two great movements together to build a more just America and a more just world. The only point I will leave with before hearing from them is, and maybe it's because I was watching the movie Sinners on my way back from Shanghai. How many people have seen that movie? It's a great movie. It's a great movie. You can take a lot of different things from the movie, and I'm not sort of a movie critic, but the thing I took away was Annie, who's, in my view, the hero of the movie, the spiritual force of the movie, and how much of her strength she gets from the traditions of Africa and the African spiritual heritage. And to me, a lot of the movie is the corrupting of Black culture, the colonization of Black culture, but her strength and her drawing on that is a source of strength of where the country needs to go, where civilization needs to go. And I think that, you know, we study appropriately John Locke, and we study Montesquieu, and we study our founders, and they're all worth studying. But what we don't study enough is the historical traditions of Africa, of the African diaspora, that have contributed to the building of America. Not just to the overcoming of oppression in America, but to the building of who we are as a people. Candace, who was here, said at Spelman College, I don't know if she's here right now, but she was meeting in the morning, she had at Spelman a course required on the African diaspora in the world. And I said, well, that course shouldn't just be required at HBCUs, that should be required for all Americans to understand that rich heritage that we have, and to understand why it is that the person who expressed most beautifully the vision of America, Frederick Douglass, talking about a composite nation, a nation which had people from China, from India, from every part of the land. Why is it that he was able to give voice to this incredible vision? It is because of the heritage of so many traditions, including from the African diaspora, that makes us the nation we are at its best. So I'm looking forward to hearing from these esteemed guests and learning from them.
Thank you, Congressman Ro Khanna. Give a round of applause. I've had the privilege, honor to meet His Excellency Luis Gilberto Murillo. Did I get it right now? Murillo. Thank you so much. Murillo. So I remember when he was a student here in the United States, and one of his objectives, he wanted to meet, he said, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I said, my father He says, yes, he's one of his heroes. He wants to meet him. He was organizing. And so there's a real story to be gained from his story on his level of achievement. And just 2 years ago, was that 3 years ago now? I was down in Colombia with my son, Noah. Noah, raise your hand. We were down in Colombia and had the opportunity to see the first Afro-Colombian become vice president of Colombia. Many people contributed to that historic success, but let me tell you, the person that was laying the groundwork, who comes to us today as the foreign minister for the great country of Colombia, is my friend, and I would like for you to take the time to please share with us your background and what's going on in Colombia.
Thank you very much. I'm really very pleased and honored to be here. Thank you, Representative Johnathan Jackson, for your leadership. You are a champion of civil rights, human rights, and the inclusion of African in the diaspora. Thank you for doing that. You are a champion of Colombia. You have visited with us several times. We are being very honored to have you there. Let me say this. These are difficult times, challenging times. But it's not the first time that people that have been under oppression, people that have been excluded, are going through this type of situations. It's not the first time. I will not be the last. And we need to be prepared for that and respond to these challenges in the way we understand what is the significance of dignity. In doing that, let me share this story that Mr. Johnathan Jackson was talking to. In Colombia, South America, about 20-25% of the total population is Black. We came here, we have the same history, the coming history of the shameful institution of slavery. And in 1852, as the result of our struggle, the shameful institution of slavery in Colombia was abolished before the United States. But we were sent into complete invisibility. When I first talked to the great Reverend Jesse Jackson, people thought that the Afro-Colombian population was a very little, tiny, and not so significant population. We were under invisibility. And only in 1991, very recent, Black communities, Afro-Colombian communities, we were recognized as particular ethnic group with particular rights, especially the right to the land in the Pacific coast. And after that, violence and conflict came to our territory that are very rich. And some of us, I was kidnapped, forced out of the country. And I came here with nothing. In 2000, I met Reverend Jesse Jackson. That was a dream that came true. I said, I couldn't believe that I was in front of him in an office in Georgetown. And I said, tell me something that is different that is happening to Afro-Colombian communities, because we have problems everywhere. Something that he said is different, very significant population. Second, we were displaced of our land. At that time, that's what's happening. And you know what made the difference? The alliance between Afro-Colombian communities, their leadership, and the African-American community here. We need That made the difference in Colombia. After 22 years, several trips of Reverend Jesse Jackson to Colombia to help us to secure peace. He was telling presidents of Colombia the truth. We need to see more Afro-Colombians in position of authority and power. In 2007 or 8, they appointed the first Afro-Colombian minister at the cabinet level in history. And you know why? Because the free trade agreement with the US was pending, and the leadership of Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus, and others said, we don't support that. We need to see more Afro-Colombians in power, and they did. And in 2022, for the first time, Colombia elected an Afro-Colombian woman as a vice president of the country. And the president, Johnathan Jackson, and Noah were there, remember? And you didn't share that we were crying. You and me, remember? Remember you fast and say, this is part of the legacy of the great Reverend Jesse Jackson. And when I was ambassador here, the first Afro-Colombian ambassador to the United States.
First don't do nothing.
And then I became the first Minister of Foreign Affairs, Afro-Colombian, of Colombia. So the face of Colombia was black. Yes. But they were denying us our resistance in 2000. And then the face of Colombia in the war stage was a black person. And we went to Chicago in 2023. And the Colombian government, the Colombian people, awarded the highest civilian honor of Colombia to Reverend Jesse Jackson, the Order of San Carlos, the Order of San Charles. So this is something that needs to be told to uplift our spirit and continue the struggle. And now I resigned to be Minister of Foreign Affairs. Ronald knows we met years ago. Ronald knows that I have challenge to be minister, but also sometimes we have sweet moments. But I decided to all of that to run for president of Colombia. I'm already running because this is the moment to really fight for what we consider is right and is just. But we cannot do that alone. We need to do it together. Thank you.
So I've intentionally kept the doors open in the back. You may hear a little bit of chitter chatter back there. I want young people, and if someone's back there, you can please invite the young people in. One of these persons up here is going to be the next president of their country. Trying to get past the gates and security, you can come right now and say hello and be with the head of state right now. I see the wonderful, my colleague, the Congresswoman Sheila Shurfless McCormick. Please stand. Congresswoman from Florida, very, very closely together on foreign affairs. Ms. McCormick, Congresswoman, if you're available, you're certainly welcome to. Let's get Congresswoman Sheila Shurfless McCormick a seat on the stage. Whoever put this program together without a seat for a woman on this stage, that's a shame. Okay, and I don't know how long that she can stay, but for whatever time she has, I'm grateful. Congresswoman McCormick, we've just introduced persons. Please introduce yourself, and we will continue with the program as well. Thank you.
On? Oh, thank you. Hi, I'm Congresswoman Sheila Sheffield McCormick, and I represent the great state of Florida. And I also serve on foreign affairs with one of my best friends here. I terrorize him like I'm his little sister, but it's a great committee for us to be on. But it's a greater experience when you have great leaders like who we have here. You know, Ro is always fighting with us. We took a Codell to Colombia, and we saw all the great work that you've been doing. And you know, we're so happy to continue to work with everyone who's on the stage. But more importantly, we're excited about what we're doing here as a community. I'm so excited that this room is filled, because the work we have to do globally with the diaspora requires all of us. Now, I always say there's only certain things that we can legislate, and we are more than happy to fight and legislate, but the ideas, the creativity, the manpower to get it done, it comes from each and every one of you. So I'm excited for everyone to be here, because this shows that the diaspora is ready to assist the entire global world in taking its rightful place. So thank you for being here, and thank you, Johnathan, for holding this panel. You are awesome, and I'll beat you up later when no one's looking.
So listen, Sheila Sheffield McCormick could go on and on, but she is the first person of Haitian descent that is in the United States House of Representatives. And there are many countries that have done many great things, and there are many great people. Lest we never forget, it all started for our freedom in Haiti. We will never, ever forget Haiti. And last night, we had the opportunity, she introduced me to Wyclef Jam, and the first thing, Jean, that's what I meant to say. And the only thing I could say to him is, hey, I got a cassette I want you to hear. He wasn't interested.
Let me tell you about Johnathan. When I came to Congress, Johnathan came in after me, and he said, hey, come here. I want to let you know, I'm the Haitian person here. And I said, Johnathan, you are not. So I love Johnathan because he represents the entire diaspora, but he does have a love for Haiti. And so for him, as my Haitian brother here, to say Jam, I'm like, it's Jean. Johnathan, you have to say Jean, you know?
Thank you so much. We are also graced today. I'll take the place of Foreign Minister, Your Excellency. Last year, we had the privilege of having as our keynote speaker, His Excellency Ronald Lamola. Thank him so much. South Africa is going through a particular level of persecution. We have to stand and fight for South Africa. And didn't it make us so proud when we saw our president, the Honorable Ramaphosa, look Mr. Donald Trump eye to eye and tell him, I'm sorry, I don't have a plane for you. And so in our Foreign Affairs Committee, I apologize as a member of the House of Representatives on behalf of the 1st Congressional District to the entire country of South Africa. I said our country lied on you, saying there was a genocide. For that, I am sorry. And so I would like to now welcome you back. We had the opportunity to be with President Ramaphosa in New York City at the UN just the other day. His Excellency, won't you warmly greet His Excellency, the Foreign Minister of South Africa, Lamola.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and also to Congressman Jackson and all other congressmen and women who are here with us today, and all of you participants. Firstly, we want to extend our gratitude to you for the very warm words of solidarity, for clarifying, demystifying the mistruth, the propaganda that in South Africa there are barbarians butchering white people. There is no such, as you have said in Congress, and clarify that for the people of the world, not only for the people of the United States or for the Congress of the US, but for people across the globe. They know there's no such. But it is based on the fact that the South Africa's current democratic order is an antithesis of what the United States wants to be a representative of the highest level of white supremacy. So they need to create lies that where black people are dominant, there is a culture of genocide, of killing white people, so that in the United States there must be fear amongst white people that if black people succeed, if you are CEOs, if you lead institutions, you are going to persecute white people. So this is an antithesis that we represent, because in South Africa, with the teachings of Nelson Mandela, he taught us to live side by side with white people. But he said we must not forget the agenda of transformation, which agenda is ingrained in our constitution, that almost 70% of our land is still in the hands of white people. Nelson Mandela said, while we embrace them, while we live with them, we need to transform, bring black people into the mainstream of the economy, bring black people to own the land, bring black people to participate in artificial intelligence, to participate in all cultural activities of South Africa. And that is what is now happening in a free and a democratic South Africa. So because this living together is a success, it's a threat to an agenda of white supremacy anywhere in the world. And that's why South Africa is being persecuted. But we are here standing very strong, continuing with the correct agenda of ensuring that the richness of our agenda enables all South Africans, black and white, colored and Indians, all are able to participate in the society and building a South Africa where everyone can participate. But we do not only work for South Africa because we are in the African continent. We are also seized with the agenda of Pan-Africanism, of building an integrated African economy through what is called the African Union flagship program, Africa Free Trade Area, where African countries, because of colonialism, could not trade together. Can you believe it? Sometimes when you have to go to some parts in the continent, you must start in Europe and then fly back to Africa. That is a legacy of a colonialism which we are currently dismantling. And we believe that the African diaspora, yourself, have got a big role to play to enable us to dismantle this history of colonialism, of fragmentation, of not working together, but bringing your skills that you have in terms of the financial sector to help work with us to build the network infrastructure that must enable the Africa Free Trade Area to function. Bring your skill to work with us to enable the network industries, aviation, telecommunications, artificial intelligence, that must enable us to trade together as the African continent. But lastly, the African continent missed out in the first, second, and third industrial revolution. There is now a new revolution. The scramble for critical minerals. The African continent is the richest in terms of critical minerals. We must not miss out on this revolution. And for us not to miss out, the AFCTA is our key. The critical mineral strategy of the African Union is the key, but also because South Africa has an opportunity now to be the chairperson or the president of the G20. We have put the African continent into the main agenda of the G20 to respond to all these issues, that there must be value addition at source, the critical minerals must be processed in the African continent, and this is a huge space for the African diaspora to come in, work with us, build all this that must enable the African continent to be in the center of the beneficiation at source of artificial intelligence, not just as consumers, but in terms of research and innovation. So this is a huge space that we believe the sixth region of the African continent needs to help us with. And that's why we're here at the Congressional Black Caucus, Congressman Jackson, to participate, but to also say, with your skills, let's work together, but also to thank you for demystifying the mistruths about what is happening in the African continent, for standing firm for humanity and for civil rights. Thank you.
We thank you.
I don't even give a fuck about the civil rights right here.
For last year, this year, and your continued friendship, and a person that can bring it all together. We have to talk about the political power and the economic power. An outstanding executive from the great Chobani company who has to source goods from around the world, who understands the agrarian science. He's tall, he's all this other good stuff. He was a basketball player from Rwanda, but he transferred all of those skills into the business arena. My good friend, Arthur Karaletwa. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And to think that what they had gone through in Rwanda, that there were 1 million people killed in almost a month, and the media had turned their eyes. It's a miracle that he is alive today. Give him a loving round of applause.
Well, as the only private sector member here, I'm extremely honored and privileged to be standing alongside these incredible public sector servants who, in partnership with, I wouldn't be able to do my job. But somebody, of course, started this conversation with expressing that, yes, we are living in interesting times. But history has shown us, history has left us breadcrumbs that these interesting times come back to haunt us. There's been a lot of history here on this stage that has gone through its own atrocities. I won't name them by category, but they've left us breadcrumbs to remind us that hate has no color. Hate is an ideology that is fueled into a blaze. And I am a witness of that hate becoming a blaze because it was between brothers and sisters. We prayed to the same God. We had the same beliefs, the same cultural ideologies. But the seed of hate was sown so deep, and it over generations is what populated into the genocide. I was fortunate enough as a young man to make it to the United States on a basketball scholarship 2 years after the genocide. But I've spent the last 24 years of my life dedicating everything I have to make sure I do not see that again. While I can't control what else happens around the world, I have seen the power of commerce bridge an incredible divide in my own country. You see, poverty sat at the core of this ideology. It's what festered their beliefs. It's what convinced us that we are less than human. It stripped our self-worth and our dignity. It eroded our identity. So killing became pretty easy to do. To be killed was one of those aspects where he thought, I'm invisible anyway. Who's gonna miss me or who sees me? So knowing that every day, over 20 million people I work with in the coffee sector or cocoa sector around the world as I source these products are born without a birth certificate to this day, reminds me clearly that one of the core values that was lost or eroded before the genocide was what is the most valuable equity you and I have in this room, and that is our identity. I dare any of you to trade your identity with me for a day or two, maybe a month. Today, I could be Ronald, maybe Johnathan. That would be a hard-pressed trade. Nobody in this room wants to trade their identity with me. But every day in the commerce world, in developing countries, our core identity is ripped from us every day. So I waged a war on poverty, leveraging what is the backbone of most economies, and that's coffee, especially in my country. And it is coffee that bridged our divide. I looked killers in the eye, killers looked me in the eye, women farmers whose had been raped numerous times by individuals, looked each other in the eye, and the centerpiece of our conversation was coffee. Not the beverage you drink every day, but the product that we shared in production, the product that straightened the backbone of our economies, and the product that allowed us to come together and convene. So it is through this that I've dedicated most of my life to not witness another Sinners movie and make sure that we are able to restore and avenge what we've been lost in our identity, and allow every farmer I work with, every producer network that I integrate with, to realize the value of their identity, one farmer at a time. So as a diaspora, I'm extremely honored to be here. While I live here, I work around the world, and I continue to fight the great fight to bridge the divide.
Thank you so much, Johnathan. We're going to have a few questions right now. First, I want to ask you, we look at the continent of Africa and we say, what's wrong? Why can't the African people get themselves together? What is the problem? And I would tell you, it's not Africa's problem. It's what's happened. It's our problem. If you were to leave right now and go home, and somebody came in and broke in your house and emptied out your bank account, you have been robbed. That's the fastest way to go broke, is to get robbed. The rape and the pillaging of the continent is what we have to stop. What's happened in Liberia, for example, when they started developing the rubber fields and so forth, the Firestone Corporation ended up doing a land grab where they ended up taking the land for 99 years and impoverishing the people. When you think of all this great cocoa and chocolate we have, and it's in Nestle and all these Belgian chocolates, there's not one cocoa bean grown in the continent of Europe. So obviously the places where the resources are coming from have been taken advantage of. I want to first start this conversation off on the cultural connection. If we didn't speak a different language, we all look like brothers and sisters on the stage because we are. Let's talk about, what are you trying to do culturally? Right here in the United States of America, not very far from here, we are seeing artifacts removed from the African American History Museum. Can you please speak to what you're seeing currently, Your Excellency, in Colombia? Are you going through this same sort of battle over the history of your people?
We were sharing in our conversation, obviously, that there is some kind of regressive actions in the advance that we have in the past 25, 30 years. And we need to protect that. And in the area of culture, something that is different in Colombia is that we see a blooming of the Afro-Colombian culture. For example, the Petronio Alvarez Festival in Cali, or now we are in the Festival of San Pacho in Quito, or what we see. That's very important, and Colombia embraced that. What is happening that is very difficult for us is that, given that Afro-Colombian got to the highest level of the public sector, starting with the vice president of the country, there is a fierce reaction to that, and creating obstacles and trying to discredit Afro-Colombians, and even questioning the need for having equal opportunity policies. We have affirmative action policies in certain areas. So that is under attack. And we need, because obviously the United States have a lot of influence around the world. So people see that and they try to copy that. So this is what we are dealing with at this moment. And I connect that with our electoral process that started in Colombia in terms of new Congress. We will have elections in March for Congress and May for the president next year. So having the voice of excluded people, of, we say, forgotten people, of people that are getting tracked in Colombia would be very important. And I invite all of you to follow that debate. Because this is not only in Colombia in that election, you are not only fighting for those right of Colombians, not only Afro-Colombians, other Colombians that have been excluded. It's the same fight that we have all over, but we have different fronts. So that's one of them. So we are looking to gain that. The second thing that I wanted to touch is, so we need to reconnect, to put this fight in a different level. And the second point that I would like to make is in terms of our treasury, like things that culturally are very valuable to us. First, we are fighting to have our own Afro-Colombian History Museum, and is moving forward with that project. But in addition to that, both Afro-Colombian and indigenous culture have a lot of our cultural history and pieces in Europe.